We're back today for episode 2 of Game Changers with Jay McNeil from the Calgary Stampeders Football Club. We are talking about sports and leadership and how athletes go to being leaders. Let's get into it. Step into the arena of Game Changers. With me, Robin Finley, where every setback is a setup for a comeback. Together, let's explore the strategic plays, teamwork dynamics, and resilience found in sports, applying them to the world of business for transformative conversations and lasting impact. Remember, we never lose. We either win or we learn. I'm back for another episode here of Game Changers. I've got my guest today, Jay McNeil, president of the Calgary Stampeders Football Club. Last episode, we talked about the price to be great. Today, we're going to jump into some discussion around sports and leadership. So we're getting right after it with our first question. So Jay, first question for you is, how has sport influenced your leadership journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I've been so fortunate to have played sports for a long time. It's, been the majority of my life. So it's had a huge influence on just about everything I do. And from a leadership perspective, that's what made me a leader. And it's really about, I watched the people before me who were leaders that I looked up to when I was playing at whatever level that would be. And, so a lot of times it was other players that I respected and coaches as well. And so, and I've seen some great leadership and I've seen some very poor leadership. And I've tried to learn from both. And so it is when you think about, leading by example, for instance, and being there in the trenches with your team, that's an incredibly important piece to it. But, it's all sports based and influenced. And, even as I worked through my corporate career, everything that I knew was based from what I learned, from playing football.
Yeah, I agree. That's the whole thing. That's how this show all got started. Yeah. I still coach athletes and talk about, life lessons through sport, and I think there's so much to be learned and how it applies to business. Do you remember at any point in time, like growing up as a young athlete, like when you really became aware of the leadership part? Like, was there an age when like Pee Wee football or something like that? I'm not sure.
I think it was probably when I was playing high school football. Okay. Long story. And I'll make it short is, I just wanted to play football. And I ended up quitting my first year. And so pretty disappointed in myself and came back. So I really just wanted to make the team. And, when you're in high school and friends and people and, you're 15 years old and you're playing with guys who are 18 and you think they're just so much older and they're so much cooler and you just look up to them. Then all of a sudden you're there, a couple years later, and some people have evolved into that leadership role. And so I went from somebody who was just struggling to make a team and be a part of it and fit in, and to being captain of the team by the end of it. And it's funny is I didn't know that it was happening until it actually happened.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Like, when did you become aware of it? And I think that's what does happen, is it just kind of naturally happens. Yeah. It doesn't happen for everybody, but you get that benefit of sport for sure. How did your coaches approach team building? I'm sure you've had some fun events along the way over the years.
Yeah, I've had coaches that have taken different approaches, and some of them have left it up to the players. I think very thoughtfully, and just coached the leaders of the team to say, okay, here's what, here's how we should bring the team together, and we'll let you guys, lead that. What might that look like? And then you have other coaches who are, plan team building events, whether it's just, going bowling as a group or,
sure.
And then, the teams within the team, our offensive line, we used to do team dinners, once a week back then. And then coach would always end up paying for it.
Right? I was going to say, big O-line dinners, that sounds expensive.
Oh, yeah. Every once in a while, the quarterbacks would pay for it too, right? So, but they could afford it.
Sure.
But yeah, so some of it was very subtle leadership from a coach's perspective, and some of it was, overt, and we're going to do this as a group. And so, it's really interesting to watch the different styles and the dynamics between the two.
Yeah, I like that. I like that the using the two different methods. I think that's really sensible and makes a lot of, gets the players engaged in the process as well. Then you get more buy-in too. So, what are some sports lessons that you apply in your life and in business?
Yeah,
I'm sure there's piles. Yeah.
Well, you know what, and I've been fortunate enough to ask to speak at a number of events and talk exactly about that. So there's 5 things I talk about. What does it take to be a Grey Cup champion? And the 5 things: hard work, perseverance, teamwork, leadership, and passion. You get a team committed to those 5 characteristics, and you're going to have a team that's going to have a lot of success. And then I talk about it in real life, and I call real life anything outside of football, right? It could be family, work, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. It's the same 5 things. Hard work, perseverance, teamwork, leadership, and passion. And if you can, as an individual, focus on those 5 things and whatever it is you want to do, you're gonna have a lot of success.
Yeah, I think it's no mystery why you see, athletes rise to, high-ranking positions in corporations and things like that. And, same, I think that you can be made for like military members or some of them that really climb. There's the same, that sort of team attitude and all the hard work and perseverance that comes with it. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. How do the sports connections you've made help you in business?
Yeah, which, I've been incredibly fortunate to be here in Calgary. And from a Calgary Stampeders perspective in our corporate world, there was a lot of crossover, and we are very much welcomed into that world. And so that's been special in itself. And but what's great though is the athletes that you meet, whether it's been Calgary Stampeders, football players from the Dinos alumni, Calgary Flames that stay in the community, everybody wants to help each other succeed. And we're such a network-driven community that just translates into that. So those connections have been instrumental into getting me to where I am today.
Yeah, people who don't know Calgary sort of don't realize, like even in the energy industry, it's all jammed in this little small area of downtown. We're all connected by +15s. You see people, the connections are really crazy. And I'm going to add a little extra one here for you too. So was there a conscious decision at your point, like when your football career ended, to jump into, was it sales you went to? Was it energy industry? Like how did that sort of transition happen?
So my second year with the Stamps, I decided that this is where I wanted to be. Calgary was a great city. There was an opportunity to really have a great life after football, just because of the community that Calgary is, and specifically, when it looks from the business community as well. And so, my first couple years I spent just networking, meeting people, creating connections, and then moving into the sales role was really a natural piece for me. I love being around people and I get energized from that, and I love talking to them. But also I think, some employers look at athletes and say, hey, sales is tough, right? You get told no every day. You've got to persevere day in and day out. There's a lot of ups and downs, and you got to work hard. And all those 5 things we talked about that you learned as an athlete translates well into the sales world. And then it just evolved into energy after that.
Well, yeah, being able to deal with those no's, the door getting slammed in your face, and people don't think about it. They see the success of all the athletes. They don't think of all the little failures that come along the way. All the times you dropped the ball, you missed your tackle. For me, I waved at the puck going by in the net, whatever it may be, all those different things. So that you do run into a lot of failures, and it's the perseverance and how you deal with that. So I think it makes you well suited to jump into the sales career. So.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps us up for today's episode. Jay, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please contact me on my email, the letter J, MCNEIL @stampeders.com.
That wraps us up for today. We'll be back for our next episode where we're talking about developing leaders. We'll see you then. Thank you for joining me, Robin Finley, on this journey through Game Changers. As the final whistle blows, let's carry the wisdom of sportsmanship, determination, and adaptability into our business endeavors. Stay tuned for more enlightening discussions on the winning strategies that transcend the field and the boardroom.